Testing. Tasting. Testing.
You're better. You're good where you are. It's okay.
Gracias por estar aquí. Vamos a continuar con los talleres, la clínica que tenemos ahora. Es un honor para nosotros tenerlo nuevamente, porque lo tuvimos virtual el año pasado, al maestro Rodney Jones. Por favor, un aplauso para él. Para los que no conocen, Rodney Jones es uno de los guitarristas más renombrados en el ambiente del jazz, ¿verdad? Ha tocado con músicos como Dizzy Gillespie, James Brown, Quincy Jones, Christian McBride, Stevie Wonder, Elvin Jones, you name it. Un montón de gente más por ahí. Es profesor de Manhattan School of Music y Juilliard durante varios años, más de 2 décadas trabajando en esas instituciones. También tiene una larga carrera de composiciones a nivel ya comercial como a nivel del jazz. El maestro Rodney Jones también ha trabajado en programas de televisión, en varios shows importantes. Uno de sus últimos trabajos que me parece muy importante renombrar, él hizo la música del documental de soldados afroamericanos de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Eso es algo muy importante. Bueno, un aplauso otra vez para el maestro Rodney Jones. Y antes de comenzar, a cada esquina hay unos micrófonos. Todo aquel que tenga una pregunta puede utilizar los micrófonos para que todos podamos beneficiar. Acuérdense que esto se está proyectando a través de la página de YouTube y para que nuestros colegas que están afuera puedan escucharlo también. Pues muchas gracias Y le dejo con ustedes al maestro Matina, ¿o quiere decir algunas palabras?
Pues nada, Rodney estuvo con nosotros hace un poco tiempo. Ha sido una persona extremadamente importante en la guitarra. Enseñó en Juilliard, estuvo mucho tiempo en Manhattan School of Music. Ahora tiene un sitio online para enseñar, que es bien interesante. Tenemos algunas personas que han estado trabajando con él. La cantidad de gente que él ha trabajado es inmensa, desde Dizzy Gillespie, la gente más importante en el ambiente de jazz. Y estuve hablando con él y me explicó cada persona de estas, lo que él aprendió. Él empezó bien joven. Lo que ha aprendido con cada persona y la disciplina y los conceptos de cada cantante. En verdad que yo jamás me imaginaba las cosas que le transmitieron a él los diferentes cantantes, diferentes. Lena Horne, you were with Lena Horne, is that correct? Ronnie, you were with Lena Horne?
For many years.
Ya, sí, toda esta gente es bien interesante. También tiene una amistad bien estrecha con George Benson por años. ¿Ok? Con todo, se puede decir con todo. Nada, los dejo con Rodney Jones. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you. So my Spanish is not so good. Yo puedo hablar un poquito de español, pero se me olvidó mucho de las palabras porque yo no tengo mucha oportunidad de hablar. Entonces, yo puedo comprender mucho más que yo pueda hablar. So I'm going to speak in English, but I'll make it an effort to speak slowly so that you can understand what I'm saying. I want to make sure that today is as fun for you as it is educational. I want you to not be afraid to ask questions. There are no bad questions. They're only, I don't want you to leave today and say, I wish I had asked this, or I wish I asked him about this, or I knew. All questions are good, and all questions are important. So whatever you're feeling about, oh, I couldn't ask that, that's not good. No, you ask. When I was a student like this, I asked the worst questions because I wanted to know so much. So I asked anyone that knew anything that I didn't know, I asked them about it. Anything. It didn't matter the instrument, didn't even matter if they were in music. So this is lesson 1. So I'm going to give you some very music-specific things, jazz-specific things, and maybe a few bigger things that maybe will give you an idea about how to learn, not just what to learn. Because what to learn, I'll give you, at Juilliard, there were more than 200 courses in how to play anything. There were no courses, 0 courses in why to play anything. You understand what I'm saying? There were 200 courses how to play. There were 0 courses in why to play. Don't you think why to play is important? Yeah, why to play is important. I'm going to give you some very good, fun lessons. So I want to start by asking someone to be my volunteer and come up here on the stage with me. You don't have to play. I just need a volunteer to come up on the stage. Who's brave enough to come up on the stage for less than 5 minutes? Anyone? Come on. Anyone? He's coming. Okay. Thank you. What's your name? Lemoine? Lemoine. Yay. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do a few things, and I want you to do those things, okay? Okay. I want you to face them. Okay. The first thing I want you to do, and I want you to do this till I tell you to stop, I want you to laugh. And then, but don't stop till I tell you. No talking, just laughing. Okay, now stop. No, don't stop. Now laugh again. Okay, that's good. Give him a round of applause. Okay. Yeah, you turn it off and put it over there. So, this exercise of laughing, did you notice that when he started laughing, first he forced himself to laugh. And then suddenly he was laughing. And suddenly you were laughing. When you're playing music and you're playing from your heart and you're really feeling it and you mean the notes you play, the audience has the same reaction like you did when you were laughing. You start off playing the guitar, and then you start playing the music, and then the audience is playing the music with you. Just like someone starts pretending to laugh, and then they laugh, and then you laugh with them. This is why it's important to play from here. You use this, but you don't play from this. You play from this. This, your heart uses your head to play the music, not the other way. When you play from this, people can feel that. And when they can feel that, they're with you. They're going to listen to you. Just like when you laugh. And the other part about him laughing is that a lot of becoming good on your instrument is being willing to fail on your instrument. You have to be willing to be bad on your instrument in order to become good. Anything you try to get better at, initially, you're going to be bad at. If you're not willing to be bad at something, you will never get good at anything. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're practicing, you're like, oh man, I suck, this is terrible. Yes, you do. And yes, it is. And that's a good thing. You always want to fail forward. You fail and learn. You fail and grow. And you fail your way to being able to do it. Anything you don't try, you have failed in advance. If you say, oh, I really want to learn to play chords on the piano, but I'm not going to try it. You failed in advance by not trying. If you try, you might fail, but you'll learn. But if you don't try, you will fail and you will not learn. This is the big picture before I talk about guitar stuff. This is and music, jazz stuff. This is the big picture stuff about learning. Okay? So everyone understand the point I'm making about trying, not trying is failing in advance? Okay, here's something else to make you real happy. Everyone that you love who plays any instrument, I don't care if it's Coltrane, Herbie Hancock, Wes Montgomery, George Benson, Pat Metheny, whoever you love, whatever, Paul Chambers, whatever your instrument, whoever you love, Elvin Jones, they were once exactly where you are now. Exactly. They were not better than you. They didn't know more than you. They weren't necessarily more talented than you. They were exactly where you are. So, the point is, if you think you cannot do it, the odds are overwhelming that you can. The odds are totally stacked in your favor that you can. You're at a beautiful school, you've got great teachers, you've got everything on YouTube, everything on the internet, transcriptions, music recordings, anything. It's a very small chance you won't succeed if you work at it. But the working has to be a regular amount on a regular basis. You can't practice 4 hours one day and then take 3 days off. You don't get better that way. You have to do a little bit every day or every other day. Now, if you miss a day, you miss a couple of days because you're a human being, you're allowed to be sick, you're allowed to hang out with your friends, you're allowed to goof off, we all do. That's normal. But you're going to become what you practiced most. Whatever you practice most is what you're going to be. You don't know, but I'm a really great psychic. I can predict your future. I'm going to predict your future right now. How about that? Here's your future. If you should practice for an hour a day and you don't, that's your future. If you should eat well and you don't, that's your future. If you should exercise and you don't, that's your future. If you should ask good questions of your teachers but you don't, that's your future. Your future is made up of what you're doing right now, every day. You don't need a psychic to tell you. You look at what you're doing every day, and that is your future. So, the good news is you're in control of your future. It's wide open. There's no limits for you. Students at Juilliard are not better than you. Students at Manhattan School of Music are not better than you. The difference in schools is in what is the level of work that's expected of the students. But when I went to school, I didn't care about that because what mattered to me was what's the level of effort that I care for myself. It didn't matter if the teacher said practice an hour. I was practicing 3 hours. It didn't matter if I was supposed to listen for an hour. I listened 6 hours. I still do. I would bet, and I'm not a gambling man, but I would bet that I, right now, at 66 years old, right now, I would bet that I practice harder than any of you in the audience. I would take that bet right now. And maybe any of your teachers, I don't know. But I know how hard I work at it. I know I was up at 4:30 listening to John Coltrane play Love Supreme this morning. How about you? Practice makes what? It does not. Practice does not make perfect because in music there is no perfect. It's only practice makes better. And practice tends to make permanent. What you practice will become what you do. If you want to play exercises when it's time to perform, if you play jazz and you want to play exercises, you should practice exercises. If you want to play music when you play jazz, you should probably practice music. It doesn't mean that you don't play exercises, but you want to practice what you want to do. It would be like a basketball player running track, lifting weights, and never going onto the court to play basketball. If you want to play this music, you've got to practice it, and you've got to listen to it. Listening is practice. And here's a form of listening. You've got to learn to listen louder. You don't make the music louder, you make your attention louder. If I talk to you like this, everyone has to really raise their attention to try to understand what I'm saying. Your attention has to go up much more to understand what I'm saying. Now, if you keep your attention there, and I talk like this, now you have heightened attention and you get more because I'm speaking normally now. Most of us, when we play music, we want the music to control our attention, so we make it louder. When we listen to the music, we listen loudly. Me too. Practice turning the volume down and raising your attention up. And you'll discover that you can hear so much more that you didn't know was there by listening louder. Any questions about anything I've said so far? Right? Okay. So I want you to tell me something. Come up. Actually, if someone could be in the audience and take the mic around, that would be great. Oh, there it is. Great.
Can you hear me? Good.
Yes, I'm listening louder.
Yes. Hi, Rodney. I hope you're doing
Hello.
well.
¿Cuál es su nombre?
William Suarez.
Okay.
Yes. What advice would you give to a beginner guitarist who wants to improve their skills and become a better musician?
I would tell you to make good friends with a person who's an investment banker who can give you $5 million and you can practice jazz, and at the end of 5 years, you'll have $2 million left.
Thank you.
I'm just teasing you. I'm going to cover that. The beginning stages of learning are the same for everyone. And I'm going to show you, this is an example for that. What do you see? Someone tell me what you see. Right? Phone screen, okay. So here's the thing. I didn't say look at the phone. I only said tell me what you see. All of you let me control your attention by holding up a phone. You could have said, I see over there. I see a bulletin board. I see my hand. I see piano. But because I held up the phone, everyone gave me their attention. I controlled you for that minute. See, when you listen to music, when you're playing with other musicians, when you're studying, the shiniest thing is not always the best thing. The loudest thing is not always the most important thing. You have to understand that you can control what you listen to. If you listen to Miles Davis play Blue and Green, you know this recording with Miles Davis, Blue and Green? Listen to that and put your attention only on the bass. What will you learn? Listen to it and only listen to what Bill Evans played. Tune out Miles, tune out Coltrane. Only listen. Don't listen to Jimmy Cobb. Just listen to what Bill Evans plays. When you realize you're in control of your attention, you are a lot freer than you imagined. What you listen to is going to determine how you sound and how you grow. Sometimes what's good to you is not what's good for you as a listener, as a student. For example, you might really, really love to listen to John Scofield, good friend of mine, genius guitar player, great musician. I like to listen to John Scofield too. You might like to listen to John Scofield. Anybody like John Scofield? Great. So that's good. But you might need to listen to Grant Green. You see? What you like to listen to, what's good to you as a student might not be what's good for you as a student. And part of being mature and growing up is being able to make those kind of choices to say, I'm going to listen to John Scofield, but right now when I need to study to learn how to swing, I need to listen to Grant Green right now. Because Grant Green swings like nobody else, including myself, like nobody else. Including George Benson, like nobody else. Including even Wes Montgomery, like nobody else. But I have to make a choice to listen to Grant Green. I'd rather listen to George Benson, that's more fun. If you had pneumonia and I gave you a piece of gum to heal you, you would probably die from pneumonia. But if you had pneumonia and I gave you an antibiotic and you chewed it and you said, oh, this is bitter and nasty, and you spit it out, you would probably die from pneumonia. The medicine that's good for you might not be what tastes good to you. What's good for you might not be what's good to you. So all this means that part of your practice routine, make sure that you're listening to things that are good for you, not only what's good to you. It doesn't mean you can't listen to everything that you like. You should. You want to enjoy the music. But sometimes, particularly if I don't know all the other teachers here, but I know, you have Fernando Martin, who's a master of the guitar. If he says, hey, you should listen to this person, I would go listen to that person. I'm just telling you what I would do. Doesn't matter if I like the person or not. If he said, this is the medicine to help you, I'm going to go take that medicine. That requires you to be mature. And all of you, if you're in school, are more than mature enough and able to do that. This is all the big, I'm just giving you all the big picture stuff before we do the music part, because this is the thing that you don't get in master classes. This is world lessons, not word lessons. Word lessons I could write on a blackboard. Do this, do that. Let's talk the modes of the melodic minor and why it's important if you're playing a minor. All that's good. And all, that's word stuff. But world lessons is what my life on the planet has shown me that makes the difference. And I'm telling you what the people that actually do what you want to do at the highest levels, what they do, that maybe they can't put into words. But this is what they do. I'm going to end with this. I'm going to end this part of it with one final thing. And this is perhaps the most important philosophical thing. How can I say it? This can be life-changing. No exaggeration. This thing I'm getting ready to share with you in a few brief minutes, when I realized this many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, everything in my life changed for the better. Everything. My playing, my friendships, my relationships, my career, everything. And it's very easy, but it's magical. Okay, here it is. Each of you has some circumstances about your life that you're not in control of. How you look, where you were born, what you were named, who your parents are, the color of your hair. These are all things you have no control over that, right? We could all agree those are facts. We could agree that it's a fact that we're all together in this room right now. Can we all agree? Is there anyone that's in this room that doesn't believe they're in this room? Because you should see me after this. we got to help you. So everyone would agree that you're here right now, right? Is anyone not here? Okay, everyone's here. Okay. So other than that, everything else, everything is whatever you decide to believe about it. Whatever you make it mean. Wow, that guy Rodney, he talked too much. Why didn't he play? If you want to think that, you could think that. Wow, I never heard anyone in that could play share such important things in words. That was great. It's whatever you want to make it mean. You can decide what experience you're having by what you think about it. See? If you think you're having a good experience, guess what? You're having a good experience. If you decide to think you're not, then you can't wait for this to be over. The only thing that's a fact is we're all in a room together. After that, everyone has their own thoughts about it. And here's why that's important. Because your thoughts determine how you feel. If you have thoughts, oh man, it sucks, how are you going to feel sitting there and you think it sucks? You're going to feel bad. If you think, oh man, it's so inspiring, I can't wait to get on my instrument, how are you going to feel sitting there? Great. And your feelings determine your actions. If you feel good leaving here, you're going to go pick up your instrument and start practicing and go listen and do some stuff. If you feel bad, you're going to be like, you know what, maybe I'm not going to do music anymore. If that's it, I quit. Your feelings determine your actions. And here's the big piece. Your actions then determine your results. So, you look at the facts. We're all in this room. What do you choose to believe about that yourself? And how does that make you feel? And is that how you want to feel? And does that feeling make you take the actions that are going to serve you or not? Because those actions are going to give you your results. So that's the good news. Here's the good news. If you feel some kind of way, ask yourself, what thought am I thinking that's making me feel that way? And if you don't like how you're feeling, change your thought about it. Man, my teacher's so hard. It's really bad. He's terrible. Oh, my teacher's so hard. He's teaching me strength. That's just a thought. Whatever you tell yourself, whatever narrative you tell yourself about it. School is hard. Not getting education is hard. Choose your hard. Which is hard? To be ignorant is hard. To learn is hard. Which is your hard? Choose. You decide. So, this is what all the real masters of the music know. That when you're playing, if you're playing music and you're thinking, oh, I suck. Man, the guys I'm playing with suck. The music sucks. These people, oh, it's terrible. Oh, I don't like my instrument. Oh, I can't get the right sound. Oh, that's what you're creating. If you're like, well, it is what it is. I'm going to do my best and see what I can learn. That's what you're creating. That's the only world I ever live in. And because of that, I wake up most mornings feeling really good. Feeling really positive. Really, you know why? Because if I woke up this morning, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go to the conservatory today. I said, well, wait a minute. Is that thought going to make me feel good? When I walk into the master class, is that what I want to think? It's not going to make me feel how I want to feel. Well, what would I want to think? Wow, I can't wait to see the shining faces of these students and see what I can share. That's what I choose to think. So when I show up here, how do you think I feel? I feel great. But it's a choice. Every victim needs a villain. If you have a villain in your life, someone that you're saying, they make me, then you're the victim and they're the villain. I have no villains because I'm responsible for how I feel, no one else. Doesn't mean people can mistreat me, but I'm responsible for how I feel, what I decide to do. Every victim needs a villain, and you should never be a victim. If someone's abusing you, you don't have to stand for that. You don't have to go for that. But the victim is the prison inside your mind. It's a story you tell yourself. So how this applies to the music we're getting ready to do right now. Your learning of jazz, all of it is going to depend on the story you tell yourself. Whether you believe you can do it or not, whether you believe it's possible or not, whether you believe you're worthy or not, whether you believe you're talented or not, whether you believe your teacher knows or your teacher doesn't know, or you wish you had more money to learn, or you have too much money and you don't know what to do, or there's too much available, you can't figure it out, or I can't find the right thing. Whatever story you tell yourself about it, that's how you're going to learn, and that's what your experience will be. The best players eventually realized, hey, let me have fun. Let me play for love, because I love to do it. And let me not be afraid to fail, because I'm going to learn. And let me try all kind of new stuff. And I'm cool with being bad at stuff, because that's how I get good at stuff. I'm cool with that. And I'm cool with everybody else being bad at it too, because they're also getting good at being bad. And I recognize that I don't see things as they are. I only see things as I am. Whatever I'm seeing is me. And you all are amazing. That's what I'm seeing, which means how am I seeing myself? There you go. Any questions about this long philosophical? Any questions, any answers about this? Did it make any sense, what I'm sharing? Did I present it in some kind of coherent way? Okay, good. All right, good. Well, that's going to end the philosophical part of it. I hope that it's helpful. You may look at the recording and find some things in there that are helpful to you. But that is the stuff that has helped me to be able to survive the times when I couldn't get it together, when I didn't know what I was going to do, reminding myself that, no, it's okay. All rivers wander before they reach the ocean. Every river wanders. Wandering is not being lost. Wandering is just wandering, even if it means discovering where you don't want to go. That's okay too. There's a difference in wandering around and being lost. If you're at school, you're not lost. You're in the right place. You're not lost. No matter what you're doing, you're not lost. Okay. So what are your musical questions? I know there's a wide variety of skill levels and interests and instruments. I'm going to play something for you, and then I'll ask some questions about that. But before I do that, are there any burning questions like what would you tell a beginning guitarist, you know? I would tell a beginning guitarist to begin. You know? Do you know what's better? Do you know what's better than exercising an hour a day for the past 15 years? You know what's the second best thing than exercising an hour a day for the past 15? You know what the next best thing is? To exercise an hour today. Start today. Whatever you should do, start now. Right? If you need to, it's not about the past, it's not about guilt. Your past is only one thing. You know what the past is? All your past music study is only one thing. You know what it is? School. You're not defined by your past, you're prepared by it for right now. Your past, whether you sucked or got together or were disciplined or not, or screwed around or did great, none of that matters. What matters is what you do now. That's only school. The past was school. So now, what do you do now? Any music questions? What are the big music questions to start? Anything? I've talked you into silence. All right, then we'll play something for you and then see if you have some questions. So we're going to play and see what you hear and what questions you would ask, okay? We're going to begin with a very beautiful song you've probably heard before called Misty. Thank you. So, what did you just hear? Any questions, comments? What did you think? Did you like it? Didn't you like it? What did you hear I was doing? What did you hear I wasn't doing? What did you enjoy? What didn't you enjoy? What do you have questions about? Anybody? You can just raise your hand. Yeah, and you're scratching your head. Okay, here we got a question over there. If you have a question, just come up to the microphone.
Hi, how?
Hey,
Okay.
what's your name?
Diego.
David?
No, Diego.
Diego, okay.
Yeah. So my question is for people that are accompanying you where you're playing. Like, what would you say they have to do to be like good accompanies? Like for the bass, for example, what's your like go-to when you're telling him what to do, or like, yeah, I want to play this way. You should do this thing for me, or something like that.
Sure, good question. I mean, there's some basic rules of comping. For those of you that don't play chordal instruments, comping means when you're accompanying someone that's soloing, right? So someone soloing, like a piano was comping for me, he was playing chords, and the guitar was playing chords as well. So there's some really obvious rules of comping. They're going to seem really, really simple, really easy and obvious. So the first thing is this. The more I play, the less you play, right? If I'm playing a lot of notes, you don't need to be playing a lot of notes. If I'm busy, if I'm playing like that, all he has to do is go. Because I'm taking up all the space with the rhythms. All the notes, right? If I'm playing really rhythmical, if I'm playing, I don't need him to be doing that. So the more rhythmic I am, the more non-rhythmic he is. Just like if you're listening to like Brazilian music, for example, you know, you're listening to Brazilian music, and if the guitar is going, I don't need the piano to be over there going. Need him to go. Now, if I do this, then I need him to go. So basically, do the opposite of what the other person is doing. Rule one for comping. If I'm busy, you're not busy. If I'm not busy, you get busier. Rule number two, be in a different register. If I'm down here, I don't need the piano to be here. Sonically, it's going to muddy it, it'll reduce the clarity. So if I'm here, I need the piano to be up there. Or if he's there, I'm going to be down there. So I'm always in a different register. If he's in high, I'm low. If he's low, I'm high. If he's in the middle, I'm not. If I'm playing full chords, we both don't need to play full chords. So, do you know the girl from Ipanema? Okay. You know that? Okay. Can you just like, just play it. Just play it in whatever way you play it. I kind of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So keep going. Keep going. So here, the piano's playing the rhythm. So I have two choices. I can either play something that's like almost like a montuno. It's going to be repeated the same, so everybody knows it's a rhythmic thing. If I play this, so I like. But if he's playing the way he's playing, I would play like this. Keep going. Or if he's playing full chords like he's playing, the other thing, keep going. The other thing I would do is like this. Counter line, make little melody lines. Or can you have more movement? Okay. So now what I want you to do, now you play only your whole notes. Notice I'm in a high register, he's in the middle register. Or I can play little rhythm figures. Keep going. The bridge. Okay, not the bridge. I'm not scratching, I'm looking for my pick. So the other thing is a guitar player or piano player, comping, you can play little rhythms like. Did that answer your question about comping? So pretty much it's a rule of opposites. Whatever the person that's doing, if there's two instruments comping, if the soloist is soloing, you want to not be in their way. And there's nothing wrong with giving space. For example, we'll play the same Girl from Ipanema. I don't want you to come in to the bar 5, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, not you guys, him. You guys start with me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now lay out, don't play. Come in now. Together. So you get the idea about comping? It's just really listening. In order to comp well, you've got to be willing to make the music the star and not yourself the star. What's going to make the music sound the best versus what's going to make me sound the best? Those are most often different things. And an easy thing to do, if you're comping, don't play what you want to say, play what you want to hear, right? So sometimes you're like, oh, I'd like to say this, but what would make the music sound good? Oh, what would make it sound good is just this. Maybe that's what you play. Play what you want to hear. Put yourself in the audience. Why are you playing something you wouldn't want to hear? Doesn't make any sense, right? It's counterintuitive. I'm going to play a whole bunch of stuff, but every time I listen back, I hate the way I sound. Dude, change the way you sound then. Don't play those things. It's easy, right? Any other questions? Yep.
Hi. So
Your name?
Manuel.
Okay.
So one of the things I notice is that you fly through the neck with ease. And I wanted to ask if I'm working on that on my bass. And I wanted to ask if you have any licks or any riffs that you use as like points around the neck to know where you are in any specific scale that you're playing?
No, none at all. And I have no idea what I'm doing. No. Of course I do. Let me finish answering his question first. Yeah, of course I do. It's something that I was talking to Fernando, Professor Martina, about earlier. It's something that's so important. It's the thing I think that most musicians don't do, and master musicians do. And it's this. Like most musicians who want to play jazz, you work really hard on the music. You learn tunes, you learn lines, you learn patterns, you learn scales, you learn melodic ideas, you play them, you play tunes and all that. And that's a big part of learning the vocabulary and the language of jazz, right? It's important. However, most musicians don't spend equal time really mastering their instrument in the way that a classical musician masters their instrument. Because when you don't have to make stuff up, when you don't have to improvise stuff and make a bunch of stuff up, and you're reading notes, and you have to interpret the notes, but you're reading notes, everything is on the clarity and execution of your instrument. That's something that a lot of people that play jazz, students and professionals, lose. We get so lost in the music, we forget, no, I actually have an instrument I have to use. It's like a person who has a great idea for a novel, like incredible novel, and all the chapters are mapped out in their head, but they never write a book. But they're the world's greatest novelist in their head. So if you want to play music of jazz, you want to be able to express. Not being competent on your instrument is equivalent to me talking to you like this. Now, I might say any number of wonderful things, but when I'm not clearly articulating, it's very hard to understand what I'm saying. When I'm not articulating clearly, it's hard to understand what I'm saying. So if you're playing your instrument and somehow it's like this because you're not doing the work to speak clearly, then that's what you're going to get. And I find that that's an area. So in answer to your question about bass playing, you have to spend the time learning the instrument, the mechanics of the bass. I play bass too, so I love playing bass, and I spend time learning bass things, not just the jazz bass things, but playing ideas and patterns and things that give me the muscle memory and the technical freedom. I teach a course called Tune World, and it's based on these principles. I'll tell you what they are. It's based on the idea that it's possible for each of you to develop linear and melodic freedom. You can develop the ability to say and play what you want to say linearly. And then there's harmonic freedom, that you can choose the chords that you want to play. For example, we're playing, right? Right, so that's one possibility. What else would be possible for that? Can you play C sus for me? Why didn't he play that for me, ever? What's that? That's the worst. The real book is the worst. No offense to the real book, but it's pretty bad. There are better books than the real book, and it's better to learn from the recordings than off the real book, because the real book is just some people that said, here's what I think the chord should be. Here's a good piece of advice. Never take professional advice from amateurs. If the person that's giving you advice can't do the thing you want to be done, why are you listening to them? Don't take professional advice from people who don't know. Take professional advice from your teachers or someone like me who actually knows. Your friend, Biff, doesn't know what to tell you. Biff, what should I practice? Oh, man, you should practice a melodic minor on major scales. Thank you, genius, bingo. That's what I'm going to do. 2 years later, man, I suck. I can only play the melodic minor in major scales. Biff, you said, oh, that was just something I thought that day, dude. I didn't mean for you to actually do it. And if any of you are named Biff, apologize. I'm guessing that no one is named Biff, but if I've offended anyone, Biff, I love you. I'm sorry for that. Yeah. So yeah, spend the time on your instrument. You know, aside from the music, I spent hours and hours playing just things like, you know. Well, here's a simple thing to know. Like, anyone know how many notes are in a pentatonic scale? 5. This is a room full of geniuses. Wow. Yeah, 5 notes in the pentatonic scale. Anyone here ever practiced the pentatonic scale in groups of 5? Yeah, I'm not convinced. I mean, most people play like... Right? But if it's a 5-note scale, what about... Think how much just vamp on an A minor for me. 1, 2, A minor, just vamp on some kind of A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. A minor on the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Groups of 4, right? 5. Stop. That's just playing a minor arpeggio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. But it sounds cool if you listen to Coltrane, you listen to Chick Corea, you listen to Miles, you listen to Herbie. Their solos are filled with, like, just because it's 4 time doesn't mean you have to play everything 4 and symmetrical. Play 5, play 3, play 7, play 6. Different groups and a little bit slower. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'll do 5s. Now mix it up. Now 3s. Now mix it up. Yeah. This is my new course. You two can play like on Coltrane in only 3 months. Not. But the point is solid, that you don't have to play everything in groups of 4. If you have a pentatonic scale, anyone know another pentatonic scale? For example, you could play this, right? But then you can mix it up. Play the same vamp. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I play it differently. Now I'm going to keep going. Now I'm going to break it up rhythmically. I'm going to displace notes. Keep going. 2, 3, 4. Watch. Stop. So, for example, if we play like you. It's much more interesting than. But. Okay, play the A minor again. This time play like an A minor 13. Put an F sharp in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Or you can use devices like the Miles Davis device, which is. Right? So you want to know the big secret about that no one ever tells you? I've never heard anyone say what I'm getting ready to say right now. You've all heard this pattern, right? You heard Miles play that? Anyone, I need you to let me know you've heard it. Yeah, okay. But here's the secret of that. This is the big secret, like, that very few people know. Few, if any, know this. It's this. The first note is a ghost note, not the second. Right? It's this. It's that. The first note is not articulated. Second is. Everybody goes. That's not it. Or they go. Darn. Why can't I get that Miles Davis feeling? I guess I'm just not soulful enough. No, you're just not smart enough. So you have to listen to someone who's spent the time being smart for a long time to try to figure some stuff out. Now you know a big secret. If you're going to practice that, include that in your vocabulary. So, and all of a sudden it has that feeling. Play it. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. The other thing is to take small bits of information as a soloist and combine them into larger bits. I do this all the time. I call it musical Tetris. That's the way I play, but it's the way a lot of the masters of music that I've learned from them, the way they play. As opposed to, instead of learning a line like, or learning, it's good to know those kind of Bird, Charlie Parker, beautiful lines. It's good to know those. I'm not saying don't learn those. I'm just saying that it's easier to recombine smaller pieces of information, like 1-4-5, 5-4-1. Play the A minor 2, 3, 4. Then it's the rhythm. Keep going. Okay. If you've ever heard Michael Brecker, any of you heard of Michael Brecker, the great tenor saxophone player? His playing is filled with these seeds, these I call them cells, note cells, 4-note cells, 5-note cells, 3-note cells, I'm just going to play on the bottom 4 strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to hear someone that's a young guy that's out there playing that way really beautifully now is a piano player named Benito Gonzalez. You know him? That guy is a master of this device that I'm talking about. It's not the only way to play. There are lots of ways to play. I mean, Jim Hall, Peter Bernstein, Lage Lund, there's people that play beautifully in other genres. Other people have all kinds of things. Schofield has a thing he does. Pat Metheny, brilliant. Kurt Rosenwinkel, one of my very favorites. They all have different things, but what you don't want to do is omit other things just because, going back to what we said before, I like Kurt Rosenwinkel, so I'm learning all of those things the way he does it. Well, Kurt Rosenwinkel happens to love Grant Green. Did you know that? See, Kurt Rosenwinkel could swing, but he doesn't swing because he listened to Lenny Tristano. He swings because he listened to Grant Green. There's a difference. Not that Lenny's not great, because Lenny was great, but it's a different sort of feeling. You have to be willing to go. I had a student at Juilliard who the first semester came in and said, listen, I want to tell you something. I don't like West Montgomery at all. West Montgomery, for those of you that have lived in a cave the past 10 years, West Montgomery is arguably the world's greatest exponent of jazz guitar. And this student came in first class, first day, and said, listen, I don't like West Montgomery. I really don't want to, I said, well, who do you like? He said, for me, the best guitarist ever to play in the whole world is Peter Bernstein. I said, oh, really? I said, well, Peter's a friend of mine, He said, yeah, Peter, then that's it. So I said, okay. So I picked up my phone. I called Peter on the phone. I said, hey, Peter. Hey, Rodney, how you doing? Listen, I'm here. I got this guy here. Could you tell me, who's the guy that you think is the greatest guitarist that you studied the most? And Peter's like, West Montgomery. Are you kidding? What? I was like, okay, thanks. Listen, I'll call you later. Thank you. Click. And so I told this guy, I said, listen, my friend, do you know what you're going to be studying this entire year? And we only worked on West Montgomery for the entire year at Juilliard. His first year was West Montgomery till he was sick of it. I was sick of it by the time we finished. But the thing is, after that year, he was like, man, I get it. I said, and now that you get it, you don't have to do it all the time. Now go listen to it. Now go listen. Enjoy your Peter Bernstein life. Have a nice life. But now you understand you got to go to the foundation of things. You got to go. I'll give you an example. If I pulled out a big box of chocolate chip cookies, and they're like organic flour, organic chocolate, just baked this morning, still warm and they're good. I said, oh man, I made enough for everybody. I want everyone to come out and get these cookies. It's fantastic. I said, there's only one thing. Like when I was cooking them this morning, maybe it was like 10 pounds of flour or whatever. It's no big deal, but I just want you to know, I did sneeze in them. But there's so many cookies, it's just a little sneeze. It's nothing, right? You wouldn't want to eat those cookies all of a sudden, would you? No one would want to eat them, right? That's the point. That's the point. Sometimes, if you think a small thing can't make a big difference, I'm going to prove to you. If you think a small thing doesn't make a big difference in your life and in your music, then you've never spent a night in a room with a mosquito. Have you ever spent a night in a room with a mosquito? How'd that go? A small thing can make a big difference in your life. A small thing in your practice can make a big difference too. These small things. It's important to tell yourself the truth. If you can only do a half an hour a day, then do a half an hour a day, but tell yourself the truth. Do it in half an hour. And here's I'm full of secrets today. Here's a big secret for you today too. If you want to become a master of your instrument, I'm going to make it so easy for you. Anyone can do it. I shouldn't even be saying it. It's so easy. Here's what you do. Anything you want to master, you only have to get 1% better a week. You can't even notice 1%. You couldn't even, if you ever watch a child grow, a little kid, and you saw them 2 years later, and they're going like this, and you're like, what happened? But if you saw them in the meantime, you couldn't see them growing day by day. You couldn't see them growing by week, but a year later, they've grown 3 feet. Well, learning an instrument is like that. Anything you do and get 1% better a week, which anyone here could do, 1 year from now, you are 52% better than you were when you started. For doing 1%, it's 52 weeks in a year. If you will do 1% a week, if you learned one tune a week, a year from now, you would know 52 tunes. At the end of 4 years of college, you would know 408 jazz standards. You would be set to play in any gig anywhere in the world for one tune a week. 1% a week. If you got 1% faster a week, a year from now, you're 52% faster. 2 years from now, you're 104% faster or cleaner or whatever you want to do. See how big things are doable if you will do it in small portions consistently. 1% a week. If you practice 1% more next week than you do this week, a year from now, you are practicing 52% more than you are right now. So what's the excuse why you can't do it? The excuse is, what's easy to do is easy not to do. That's the excuse. It's easy not to do 1% a week, so it's easy not to do it. But I'm telling you, that kind of slow and steady progress will win over talent 9 times out of 10. I've seen it at Juilliard all the time. The students that do this kind of work consistently always overperform from the students that come in first year and they're like the best person in the school. Oh man, they got all together, and the person's just quietly in the back, doesn't play a lot, doesn't say a lot, just doing the work, 1% a week. 2 years later, they're way better. Why? Because one person's depending on talent to carry them. The other person is depending on work and discipline. And that always wins, in my experience. Not always, but almost always. You who know Jonathan Batiste is, that won all the Grammy Awards? He was in my ensemble for 2 years. Genius musician, horrible student. He's the exception to the rule. He came to every class unprepared. But he didn't need to be prepared because he could make up in the spot what was better than all the other students. So it was very difficult to teach him when everyone else was preparing the ensembles, their assignments and arrangements and bringing them in. And it's like, John, you got your arrangement? He said, no, not really, but let's do this, and then it would be better than anybody else. What are you going to say to that guy? He's a teacher's best and worst nightmare all in one. The guy that doesn't do anything you tell him and is better than the people that do. It's a problem. But it's a good problem to have. Brilliant musician, great guy, but not a great student. So here's the point of that. Whatever kind of student you are, it's okay. You're enough. You don't have to be like anybody else. You don't have to study like anybody else. You don't have to grow at the same pace as anybody else. You guys know who Kenny Kirkland was, the jazz piano player? So I introduced Kenny to jazz. Kenny was a classical piano player, and I was playing jazz. And in 1 year, he became way better than me. My path to learning was slow and steady. I got pretty good, but then I was like, okay, I'm the guy that has to do the work week after week. And it's not drudgery. I like doing it. It's fun. It's exploring. But every week I work on it and work on it and work on it. And gradually all my friends that were more talented, I started going like this, and he started going like that. So if you don't feel you're the most talented person or you're as far advanced as someone else, that doesn't matter. You ever hear Coltrane's first recordings? They're terrible. Horrible. But what he did was step by step. He worked on the music. And you all have that potential to do that too. Right? Okay. So I talked about linear freedom, and melodic freedom, harmonic freedom, rhythmic freedom. Right? And how do you know you have rhythmic freedom? When you can do it not on your instrument. Because if you can't do it off your instrument, you can't do it on your instrument, chances are. Right? I get students that are like, okay, this. You guys know this rhythm, I'm sure. Right? Common. Or you can do the 3-2. Or 2-3. The point is, if that rhythm is not internalized, you think you're going to play that on your instrument? You are not. And that's something you can practice. If you want to know a good book, do you know the book by Robert Starrer called, I think it's Modern Rhythms, or something like that? Robert Starrer, S-T-A-R-E-R. If you need to get your rhythm together, that book will do it for you. Right? Robert Starrer, S-T-A-R-E-R. You can Google it, you'll find it. Highly recommended book. Something I said, something I did? My pleasure, thank you. You can leave your donation at the side of the stage if you'd like to. So, yes. Okay.
Hi again. I wanted to ask you, what would a good balance between music theory and practice look like?
Great question. The balance is this. This is another secret. Oh, my God. I'm going to tell you a secret of music theory. Okay, thank you. 10 minutes. I'm going to tell you a secret of music theory that no one at Juilliard or Manhattan School of Music ever really wanted me to say. No one at this school wants me to say it. Your director over these people, they don't want me to say what I'm getting ready to say, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth. It's my truth. I don't say it's the truth. It's my truth. This is the most important thing you're ever going to learn about music theory. Forgive me. I apologize in advance. I'll catch the bus home. I'll catch the bus back to New York. Here it is. If the second note sounds good to you after the first note, it's correct. That's simple. If the second chord sounds good to you after the first chord, that's correct theoretically. Meaning that the greatest theory in intelligence you have in music theory is your ear intelligence, not your brain. It doesn't matter what the book says is correct if it doesn't sound right to you. Now, it matters for school. For school, you want to do all the right things. You need to know all the things, all the rules. But in point of fact, like I play, and I like to play E flat sus minor 13, B flat minor 13 over E flat. And I like to play. That's what I hear against that. There's no book that's going to say that's right. But Coltrane wouldn't have played anything. He wouldn't have written any of his music if it was supposed to be right. None of it was right. Until after the fact, it's like, oh, now I get it. It all makes sense. You have to trust, or you play and use F over G. You've heard this before? But you can't go to any school in America or the world, for that matter, and say, hey, we're going to play alone together, but I want the first chord to be F over G, and everyone's going to be like, what? No. Right? So theoretically speaking, D minor, right? Could you play a D in the bass? No, just, you're not the bass player. you play a D in the bass? Okay, let's try again. It's the third string, D. That's a D? Okay, everyone hear that? It's a D, right? Now I want you to play an E flat on the bass. Play G in the bass. Play F in the bass. Those are all right. Why can't we choose to play those chords? Why don't we choose to play those chords? Because most of us play the real book changes. And there's nothing wrong with knowing the real book changes. You have to learn the actual tune, but you don't want to stay there. Staying and play the original chords of the tune is the equivalent of wearing the same clothes that you used to wear when you were 8 years old. You're still wearing them. And they're cool, I guess. You know, if you like that striped T-shirt, have at it. Enjoy. But maybe your taste changed when you get older than when you're 8 years old, maybe, right? Maybe, maybe not. Anyone here still dressing like when they were 8 that will admit it? All right. There you go. No one will admit it. Okay. Yeah, so you can decide, like, just pedal bass on 2 and 4. You swing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Pedal D. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you're pedaling a bass on 2 and 4. 1, boom, 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 boom. I want you to do that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I want you to play on 2 and 4. 1, boom, 3, boom, 1, boom. You got 2 and 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why not? Here's the point regarding harmony theory. You always are using pedal tones and suspended notes. If you use notes that are suspended, you build a harmony around it. You keep a common note, this, or you can have the pedal tone. You keep do the same thing one. And now I'm going to keep the D on the bass, and I'm going to play chords around the D. 1, 2, and 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bass is pedaling D. Now keep going. Now instead of playing around the bass note, I'm going to use that bass note as a suspended tone on top. See how you can build a harmony aside from building it scale-wise and building it chords built on notes of a scale. You can take one note and try all the different chords just around that note as a bass pedal or the note as a melody note suspended on top and see what you like. And if you like it, trust that. Doesn't mean you don't know the chord scale. You should learn the chord scale. You should know the traditional harmony. You should know those things, but not be limited by those things. Because if you're limited by those things, then you're like everybody else that's also limited like that. It's like people that are, you know what goth people are? Yeah, they're people that are so individual that they all dress like each other. Let me see. It's like jazz musicians. We're individuals. We play individual creative music. We're all going to wear a black suit, a white shirt, and a black tie. But we're individuals. Really? Miles didn't do that. Train didn't do that. Monk didn't do that. Herbie didn't do that. Are you going to do that? All right. Well, I'm just about out of time here. Did I answer your question about theory?
Yes, thank you perfectly. I just wanted to know, you mentioned a chord, B flat minor,
13.
Flat 13 over E flat, something like that.
So here's B flat minor, 7.
Yes.
There's the 13th in it, right?
Yes.
But I put that over E flat.
I think you mentioned flat 13 on the B flat.
That's
instead
it.
Instead of the natural
No,
13?
it's the flat 13 of the B flat, right? The flat 13th of B flat is what note?
Yeah, it would be like G flat, right?
Go to your room.
Bye. Thank you very much.
It would be a G natural. It's all good. Any final questions? Anything I didn't talk about that you wanted me to talk about? I know I talked a lot. I wanted you to have, in conclusion, what I talked about was, I began by talking about the philosophical, mental, emotional, spiritual foundation you have in the music, because that's what's going to really be the propelling thing, your deep connection with it. What drives you, and what's going to determine your course is what you believe about it. If you don't believe it's possible, it's not going to be possible. You have to believe you can do it. And then I said, the overwhelming odds are you can. Everyone you loved that played the instrument was just like you. You look at me, I am you with a bunch of years of doing what I'm telling you to do. That's the only difference. I am no different, no more talented, no better. I just did some things consistently and kept looking, and that was it. Right? You enjoy it? You learned something? Okay, you can applaud now. Thank you. Maybe we should play something for you.
Fuerte aplauso al maestro Rodney Jones. Gracias.
You play blues and B flat? Blues and B flat.
Sorry, before you play, one last question. What should be like the concentration like in terms of musical career? Because we all know fame and glory. You know, you want to be famous, you want to be known by a lot of people, or at least that's the usual
I never had that
dream.
as a goal, but okay, go ahead.
But like musically, what should be the driving factor?
Well, I'll say that's a great question, and it's a good place to end on. For most young people like yourself, you're going to say passion. Oh, I'm passionate about the music. I love it. I'm passionate about it. What I know as an older person is that passion tends to wane. It tends to fall away. It's like new love is always new. You know, my wife and I have been together 35 years, but if I'm always chasing the feeling of first date, I could never be married. I always have to date the next woman and date the next person and marry the next wife and always have the new feeling. But the deepest treasures, the best treasures in the ocean are where? At the bottom. So, you know, you can always go wide or go deep. So passion is good, but when you connect to your purpose, that's what takes you through the long run. Like what has allowed me to sustain a career and a life is that I know I'm doing what I feel I was on planet Earth to do. So if I know that, then when it's good times, okay, great. When it's bad times, okay, great. I still know what I'm doing. I have confidence I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Passion can wane. Oh, man, this is great. Oh, I'm not getting any work. I'm not getting any gigs. Oh, man. Then the passion's gone. But the purpose doesn't go. You know, most of us are like a fish in a fish tank swimming around in the water saying, gosh, I'm thirsty. Yeah. We're prisoners in the jail cell holding the keys in our hand.
Yeah, of our own making.
Okay. Thank you.
Mañana seguimos con las clases magistrales desde las 10 de la mañana. El maestro Rodney estará con nosotros en el concierto. El concierto es mañana a las 7 de la noche. Así que los esperamos. Manténganse al tanto en nuestras redes sociales. Muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí. Un aplauso al maestro Rodney y a los estudiantes.
Thank you. One other thing, if any of you have questions, I'm going to give you my email address, my personal email address. If you have questions that I didn't answer, and you write me, you say, hey, I was in your master class at the Conservatorio in Puerto Rico, and I had some additional questions. If you will take the time to do that, if you care enough about yourself to do that, I will care enough to answer your email. It might take a week or so, but I'm calling your bluff, okay? So if there's stuff you really want to know about, and you wish you had someone you could ask about it aside from your amazing teachers here, I'm going to give you my email address. You can email me. If I can help you, I'll answer it for you, okay? My email address is the word soul, like S-O-U-L, the word manifesto, like manifesto, M-A-N-I-F-E-S-T-O. That's all one word, soul manifesto, S-O-U-L-M-A-N-I-F-E-S-T-O, at, which is the sign at, gmail.com. That will find me, and I will answer your email. And if I can help, I will. If I can point you in the direction of who can help you, I'll do that too. So now you have additional resource. Okay? So now the master class continues into the future. You're welcome.